Imagine kaiju and giant monsters that have the size or the appearance of mountains. These are what we describe as Earth Kaiju. Their designs are based on hilly or mountain terrain, and they have forest or plant outgrowths, vegetation, on their bodies. Basically, they would initially be mistaken for a geographical feature, and only when they are awakened would their true nature be known. So let's take a look at 10 or more of these here in this video. The first we have here is called Dorggo, a kaiju from the Ultraman franchise. This creature is also known or called as the mountain kaiju, not just because it hibernates on top of a mountain called Mount Carino, but also because it resembles the terrain of the mountain itself. Its special powers include purification of the natural wilderness in its vicinity. This one weighs 65,000 tons, and it is 69 meters or 226 feet long. Its body is filled with vegetation and rocky outgrowths and what seem to be cliffs on its back, and when it sleeps it is all but indistinguishable from the surrounding terrain. Then of course we come to the monsterverse Titanus Methuselah, who is way bigger at 322 feet or 98 meters tall. Methuselah is a titan and one that emerges from hibernation like a living walking mountain. It appeared first in Godzilla King of the Monsters of 2019 and hasn't been seen since. Although he does have some reptilian traits and walks on all four legs, his most noticeable trait is the large mountain he carries on his back, which has allowed him to hide in plain sight for hundreds of years amongst the landscape in Germany. The Monsterverse had also noted that Methuselah had in the past disguised himself as both an island and an iceberg, which may be due to the snow and ice forming on his back. So next, while not really as big as Methuselah but maybe a little bit taller due to his bipedal stance, the Wild Heart's Earthbreaker is what we call a Camino here in this universe, the embodiment of a particular aspect of nature or of nature's power. The Earthbreaker here is one that comes in the vague shape of a bear, but with its outer layer being covered in rocks and vegetation, thus making it look like a rugged hilly terrain. When it rests, of course, and when it is active, the landscape is broken by its sheer weight and power. So going on to the next one, we have here a dragon from the world of Berg, and this one is called the Forever Wing, a 120 to 150 meter long dragon that looks like an old wise dragon that is also a mystic that hides in the deep places of the jungle. Dragon's Rise of Berg says that this dragon resides in a mountain hidden by trees and rocks and other kinds of vegetation that has grown to be a part of it. It is the perfect camouflage for this dragon, which would rather spend its time sleeping than being active. However, as peaceful as it may seem, this dragon can spew out huge amounts of lava from its mouth, which can destroy entire towns and villages. So of course we have to include here Godzilla Earth in this video. While his offspring or clone called Phileas didn't really hide in plain sight, the real Godzilla Earth had been living and transforming the Earth for over 20,000 years, as of the timeline of the anime movies. This version of the G-Man differs from the rest of his variants as he is speculated to be a mutant evolution of plant lifeforms, while in the sequel, Metphis, an alien of the Exif race, noted that Godzilla is always the end product of evolution all over habitable worlds in the entire universe. Anyway, but one of his powers is endless growth, and so as of the events of the movies, when he emerged from his millennia-long sleep, he was but a mountain that was 300 meters or 1,000 feet tall, and initially, he was indistinguishable from the terrain. Next, from the gaming industry we can include the many titans from the God of War games, but amongst them all, Gaia is one that fits the shoe here. She is a 500 meter tall primogenitor of the Greek gods, as well as of the other titans too, and in the third installation of the game, God of War 3, she first assists Kratos in fighting the tyrannical Olympian gods, and then was later killed by the same person, Kratos, the one she helped. Actually, she is called an Earth Titan or the goddess of the Earth, and was the mother of the Titans and the grandmother of Zeus, Poseidon and Hades. She here has a humanoid body type, but her outer body is filled with lush vegetation that grows on her rocky skin, while also having rivers emerging from her body. And to be clear, she is mega thick. So moving on, we come to the Torterra, which are powerful quadrupedal Pokémons that resemble a form of a tortoise. and their designs draw inspiration from the snapping turtle and the ankylosaurus, which was an armored dinosaur, while also drawing some elements from the mythological concept of the world turtle. The name Torterra likely blended the name tortoise with terra, which is the Latin word for earth. In the movie Pokémon Detective Pikachu, multiple Torterra appear, including a group of normal-sized ones kept within a spacious research facility. However, the most striking ones are the genetically modified Torterras that are colossal beings of mountainous proportions, lying dormant in the surrounding landscape, and their sheer size when they awaken blurs the line between creature and terrain. But even larger than these is the summit kaiju called Batholith, which has caused some controversy in the movie industry, as the makers of this have sued the Monsterverse with their claim of Methuselah being a ripoff of their creation, which is Batholith. I'm no lawyer here, and so I don't really have a say in it, but one thing I could say is that clearly there are many mountain-type monsters which might seem similar but are totally different. Anyway, the design of this Batholith kaiju is pretty spectacular and seems to be like a walking mountain on 4 legs with a huge rocky outgrowth on its back. And as for size, it could be anywhere between 500 to 1000 meters in height. Now, next one here to be discussed is the Adamantoise, a 714 meter long behemoth that hails from the Final Fantasy franchise, you know, the movies, games and shows. But this one here is from the Final Fantasy 15, the game. This creature, the Adamantoise here, is the largest and the oldest living creature known to man, said to have been born at the dawn of time itself. It is a gigantic turtle-like monster that has a mountain that has formed on top of its shell, with vegetation and all that jazz. Also, we have done a video about the biggest turtle creatures in fiction, some of which might be considered the same as a mountain kaiju. So some like the lion turtle of the Avatar franchise, you know, the last airbender, not the Avatar of James Cameron, then the Shinzinsu of World of Warcraft and Genbu from the world of Naruto, and their designs could also be considered to be mountainous or mountain kaijus, or earth kaijus here. These are so huge that they are complete with natural landscapes, man-made structures, and even biospheres. But one stands out from the rest here, in a way that it is still similar to a mountain kaiju in that it has rocky landscapes and even entire ecosystems on its back. But it is still not as big as, let's say, some planetary-sized creatures like Atu in the world turtle. This one here is the Avalonia, from the animated movie called Strange World. It is a turtle which is as big as a country or continent, whose center houses an entire kingdom. So any bigger than this would be considered a planetary-sized creature or at least a moon-sized creature, and not a mountain or an earth kaiju. But another notable mention here is the behemoth from the Trevor Henderson's works, which is rumored to be over 800 kilometers tall, and its head alone is 3 times the size of Mount Everest. But that creature is in a league of its own along with the SCP Leviathan, and maybe we can also include Avalonia here. Anyway, those are the unique monsters and kaiju that have the appearance of mountains. These here are the biggest. And of course we have also the likes of Zunesha and even others that are around planet size, but none of them would be mistaken initially for a hill or a mountain for many different reasons. So with that, we come to the end of this video. Like for support, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, fam.